Okay, we're going to be prompt this morning and get this show on the road. Good morning on behalf of the Edinburg Police Department. Welcome to our first class graduation and badge pinning ceremony. We are so honored to have our city leadership, department staff, friends and family here to celebrate this really historic milestone. So today marks the culmination of a whole lot of dedication, hard work, discipline, and perseverance by our graduates. Thank you all so much for joining us on this very special occasion, and congrats to our cadets. I think they deserve a big round of applause. If we could, let's begin today in prayer. Please stand as Keen Adams delivers today's invocation.
Good morning. Let us pray. Heavenly Father and our God, we thank you for this beautiful day that you have blessed us with. We thank you for the privilege of prayer and to be able to talk with you unmolested. We thank you, dear Lord, for the fact that we are able to come to celebrate with these graduates who've answered the call to serve and to protect. We thank you, Lord, for your protection over their lives so far, and ask that your blessing will be upon them as they enter this noble profession. Lord, I pray that you'll grant them courage to face the challenges, the wisdom to make sound decisions, and compassion for those who they will serve. Protect them from all accidents, harm, and dangers, Lord, both seen and unseen in the line of duty. I pray that you'll strengthen their integrity as they uphold law and justice, Lord. I pray that they will honor their badges. Please be at their side, watch over their families, and continue to guide them safely as they execute their different tasks. We thank you for the leaders who have prepared them for this moment. We thank you for the city that you have blessed us with to be able to live and to work and to enjoy the blessings that you have given to us. I pray you'll continue to be with the leaders and the movers and shakers, Lord, the people who make decisions so that the city can thrive and grow and that its citizens can do well. We thank you again for the opportunity to be here. We acknowledge you in this place and ask that your blessings will be upon everything that will be said and done. We ask all this in Jesus' precious name. Let everybody say amen.
Thank you. Please remain standing for the presentation of colors by the Edinburg Police Department Honor Guard. Investigator Joe Vega will lead us in the national anthem, and then Cadet Rocky Moreno Jr. will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Before we move forward, I do want to take just a quick second to recognize our Edinburg City Council in attendance. Of course, our Mayor, Omar Ochoa, Councilman Dan Diaz, Councilman Jerry Lozano, and our City Manager, Ms. Mayra Ayala. At this time, it is my honor to introduce our Mayor, Omar Ochoa, for the official welcome remarks.
Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful, glorious day here in the city of Edinburg. This is truly a cause for celebration. We are honored to be here to give thanks and credence to the dedication, the perseverance, and the unyielding commitment of 8 extraordinary individuals. To the cadets who are here today, you are the very first class of this new proud tradition in the city of Edinburg with the newly established Edinburg Police Department Police Academy. And my heart swells with immense pride knowing that our new homegrown talent pipeline is here now to protect our citizens with professionalism and pride. Since this journey has begun for you guys, since mid-July, you have embarked on a rigorous and comprehensive training program led by fine instructors. You've spent months going through profound challenges, mastering demanding coursework that ranges from emergency response and crisis intervention, de-escalation techniques, and community-oriented policing. But true community policing is not merely a curriculum to be tested. It's a sacred covenant that needs to be lived. It's a deeply held conviction that the badge that you wear over your heart is not a barrier, but a bridge to the neighborhoods that you are sworn to protect. And as the prophet Micah instructs in the scriptures, we're required to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly. And I believe that, above all, is the enduring essence of the calling of you as new police officers. We find ourselves in a rapidly evolving area where we have to harness the power of innovation and have clear data-driven decisions to our daily strategies. But even as we deploy these advanced technologies to safeguard our streets, we can't let statistics blind us to the human heart beating at the very center of our justice system. True security is built upon a dual foundation, a steadfast and unshakable respect for the rule of law that's intricately bound with a profound and unwavering respect for every single citizen in our community at the same time. The truth is that this inaugural class represents recruits who are motivated, disciplined, and wholeheartedly dedicated to serving our community with integrity. Now, I hope that you will accept this responsibility to build the future of the city of Edinburg along with the rest of us here on the city council. I hope you will step boldly into that responsibility. And as you leave the academy and now join the police department, the first time that we'll be doing this with our own fully licensed academy, know that you carry the highest hopes, the deepest trust, and the enduring prayers of our entire city. We are all very incredibly proud of you. Thank you so much for your hard work, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. We certainly look forward to working with them. And now please join me in welcoming Chief Jaime Ayala for a few remarks.
Good morning to our distinguished guests, our academy staff, our families, and most importantly, this graduating class. I appreciate everyone who's here to witness this and support these new officers, and to those that are observing online that couldn't be with us, we welcome you as well. Today we're going to have a keynote speaker that is going to address our group and our academy. So I'm going to keep my comments fairly brief. Mayor Ochoa, thank you for your support. Council members Dan Diaz and Jerry Lozano, and of course Ms. Myra Ayala, our city manager, for your continuing support in helping us get what we need to do with our elected leadership to police Edinburg in the best way that we can. We're very fortunate to have this keynote speaker today. And he will be introduced shortly, but he's the executive director of our licensing agency, TCOL, the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. Greg Stevens is a former chief. He's a dear friend in recent times, and I appreciate the friendship we've had. So Derry Miner is also here. Those of you who are familiar, he's our field representative who worked with us also to achieve this academy license to be able to have our own police academy. We are also here to welcome Sergio Sáenz, one of our TCOL commissioners that is from the Rio Grande Valley. Sergio in the back, thank you, sir. You show up. You show up all the time at our events. You were at our Chiefs lunch yesterday. You go on ride-alongs to see what the officers are facing in the front line. And for that, we truly appreciate your leadership. I want to recognize members of our training advisory board. Nario Cantu, Johnny Hernandez, and who I don't see present, Tim Smith. These are members of the community who, as a licensed academy, we have to have a training advisory board who we meet with, and we talk about curriculum and the direction that we need to go as far as training. So thank you all very much for volunteering to serve on that board and for being here today at Class 1's graduation. I want to give a very special thank you to our training staff, led by Lieutenant Robert Vallejo, Sergeant Alex Cruz. They were the ones, and retired Sergeant James Ramirez, they are the ones who put in the work, who worked with TCOL to do everything we needed to do to be able to achieve getting our license. And then lastly, I want to recognize one of our retirees. Everybody knows Peter de la Garza. And in anticipation of this day, we met with our staff, and we decided that we wanted to recognize a member of our department of 43 years, an assistant chief for many, many years, one that I rode with almost 40 years ago as a reserve, and we've created the Peter de la Garza Leadership Award, and one of our cadets will be recognized with that award today. So thank you, Peter, for being here. And to the families here today, thank you. Recruits, would you please stand up and face your family and give them a round of applause for their support during this time? Families, this badge belongs to you as well. Thank you for supporting your loved one and sharing them with us. I know there were nights they had to study and couldn't do family events to get ready for testing and whatnot, so your support for them is what's helped them get them here today. Class 1, today is historic. You're not just graduating. You are the first graduating class of the Edinburg Police Academy. That means you are the foundation. You are the standard. Every class that follows you will be measured against what you represent starting today. Our academy staff trained you in law, tactics, and procedure, but more importantly, it challenged your character. Policing today requires more than skill. It requires judgment, restraint, integrity, and courage. The badge does not give you power over people. It gives you the responsibility to serve the people. Respect, trust, and legitimacy are earned, and it is earned one contact at a time. You will see people on the worst days. You will walk into chaos while others walk away, but you will also bring calm to crisis. You will protect the vulnerable. You will make a difference in ways you may never fully realize. Take care of one another and never forget why you chose this profession. Class 1, your sacrifice and support made this moment possible. I challenged you at the beginning when you first started this academy, to stick together, help each other out, listen to your training staff, and to see each and every one of you that started and here today, and you did that. 8 of you started, and 8 of you are here graduating today. As graduates of our first academy, you are building a legacy, beginning now. Stand tall, serve with honor, and lead by example. Congratulations to Class 1. Your training officers and the officers in the field are truly anxiously awaiting your arrival. So congratulations.
Thanks, Chief. And next up, as Chief mentioned, we do have our keynote address. And let me give you a little background on our speaker because we are really excited to have him with us this morning. It's a big honor for us. Greg Stevens was appointed as the 6th Executive Director of the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement in January of 2024. And he brings with him more than 36 years of law enforcement experience. So prior to his appointment with TCOL, Director Stevens served nearly 5 years as Chief of Police in Rockport, but he spent the majority of his career with the Lubbock Police Department beginning back in 1992 and then retiring in 2019 as the police chief there. In addition to that very storied law enforcement career, Director Stevens is a retired naval intelligence officer, having served nearly 25 years in active and reserve duty. Director Stevens holds a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice from Wayland Baptist University and a Master of Business Administration from Texas Tech. And he is also, on top of all of that, a graduate of the FBI National Academy. At this time, we are so honored to welcome our keynote speaker, Greg Stevens, Executive Director of TCOL.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I appreciate my friend Chief Ayala for inviting me here to do this, to be the inaugural keynote speaker at this Academy graduation. That's a big deal, and I want to really start with that right there. One of the things that we're really not doing is starting new, allowing new police academies to start up. It's not really a thing, actually. We're kind of in the process. Texas is unusual. Many states, there's one police academy, one. State of Oregon is an example. There's a couple of others where everyone goes to that academy, whether you're going to be a state trooper, whether you're going to be a Portland police officer, big city, small city, whatever it is, be a game warden, everyone goes to that one academy. That would never work in the great state of Texas, the great big state of Texas, right? So, but we have right now about 124 basic peace officer academies in the state. I'll argue that may be too many. I'm not going to say it is, but I think it may be because what we see right now is a lot of inconsistency across the state in basic peace officer training. We see a lot of issues and problems. And so part of our job, what I've been working over the last 2 years, is trying to solve some of those inconsistencies and trying to solve some of those problems. So we're in the process of consolidating some of those academies, and some of those academies are closing down because they're not able to meet the very high standards that we set, that Texans expect and deserve out of you all, right? Out of peace officers in Texas. And so Chief Ayala, Mayor, y'all can attest to how difficult this process was, and that's by design, and it's frustrating. It really is. Most of the places that come and want to, they stop somewhere from the beginning of the process to the end, and they don't stand up a new academy, and that's okay. That's not negative on them, but that's how that system is designed, because it has to be a difficult process. If you're going to train people to do the awesome job, the responsibility of policing in America, in Texas, right? Because it's such a big deal. And I'm going to say a few things about that, what that means. It cannot be taken lightly. It's a huge deal. The amount of responsibility that you carry, the amount of authority, and again, like Chief said, not from a badge, not from a piece of metal that you have, but from the authority granted you because of this profession and because of the oath of office that you're going to take. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We cannot take that lightly, and we do not, right? Every police academy in the state of Texas has got to meet the same kind of standards that the Texas DPS Academy has, that the Fort Worth Police Academy has, and that the Edinburg Police Academy is already meeting with you, the inaugural class. Does that make sense? And we do it like the best analogy I can give you is a franchise model, right? Just like any other business franchise. We have to make sure, since we don't have one academy, since we have a number of them across the state, we have to make sure that all Texas peace officers are trained to the same high standard. That's what Texans expect. It's what they deserve, and it is the way it is, right? And so that from our perspective, from the regulatory agency, from the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, that's the way it has to be. Now, each town is a little bit different, right? You're going to teach them geographic comprehension for Edinburg, Texas. I went through the Lubbock, Texas Police Academy, and I had to learn the streets, and I had to learn the local ordinances. So you can put a little bit of extra sauce on the hamburger, right? But you have to make the hamburger the way the franchise agreement says, or you lose the golden arches. Does that make sense? We are following a franchise model, and it is very rigid, and it is becoming more rigid because it hasn't been in the past. Not because TCO didn't want it to be that way, not because it wasn't that way, but because the agency was too small and didn't have the capacity to go out and do the kind of oversight necessary, but we do now. And so a couple of people, and Chief mentioned Derry Minor, who's here with us, and one of our new employees, one of our new folks, Denise Pace, just started with us a couple of weeks ago. She came from Corpus Christi Police Department. She's also working in this area as well. We have stood up and created a new part of TCO, a new part of the organization that focuses solely on training, on the academies, on the continuing education providers. And so what the city of Edinburg, what Edinburg Police Department has taken on and has agreed to do in order to train its own folks, they already have us in their business. TCO comes out and does inspections and does audits. That's why I said a minute ago, Mary, you do have a great police department. I know because I see all the records and the audits. You've got a great police department that is a good operations department, serves its citizens well. You've agreed now to be audited by a whole nother group, to be inspected, not just in the agency, but in your academy as well. You've agreed to take on a second audit, a second inspection, because that's what that means, right? So it's a big deal, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk. And so I want to say a few things to you. I want to make sure that from my perspective, not just as in my official role, but me as a Texan, and me as someone who loves to come to the Rio Grande Valley. I get to travel. One of my greatest parts of my job, I get to travel the whole state. I was born and raised in Amarillo, and I did all of my career in Lubbock, Texas. I was up there Monday and Tuesday, and I did not get out in time before a major dust storm hit. If you've never been up to West Texas, it's a place where you can watch your dog run away for 2 weeks straight. It's flat, it's flat, it's unbelievable. And in the spring, the wind begins to blow, and 2 or 3, 4 times a year, it is brown out dust conditions. It's hard to drive through, and that happened Tuesday, and I didn't get out of town in time. I always was worried that I was at some point going to owe New Mexico property taxes because a lot of their topsoil was in my yard. I got a little worried about that, right? I still love going home. I've got family, friends, and everything. I like all the parts of the state, but I really enjoyed my time in Rockport. One, because I like the weather, and I like the weather here in South Texas. My first duty assignment when I went in the military, a month after high school, I went to Fairbanks, Alaska in January of 1989, and it was 48 degrees, below zero. And I know what I got myself into, but I've been coming south ever since. When I stepped out of my hotel yesterday evening before I went to dinner and the warm, humid air hit me, I loved it. So I love coming down here any chance I get because I like the climate. I like the weather, but I love the people of the Rio Grande Valley, of the McAllen area. The friendliness, the hospitality, and I love the food. The tortillas at breakfast this morning, you don't get those at HEB, right? So I appreciate this opportunity. I appreciate being down here. Chief Alla told me a little more than 300 people applied for these 8 positions. Right? I want you to be proud of yourself. You're not done yet. You still got FTO. You still got some training to do. You still have to go out, and you're going to be different people in 5 years. It's not a bad thing, right? But 300 people wanted to sit where you're sitting, more than 300. The selection process to become a peace officer in the country, but a peace officer in Texas and a peace officer in Edinburg is hard. A lot of people want to do it. Not everybody's going to get to, right? But some of the stuff that I want to talk about, I want to make sure that you understand what you're getting into, because you can back out right now. You haven't sworn in. You haven't taken the oath. And we're going to talk about the oath of office because it's a big deal. You've been through a lot of training. You've probably done a lot of push-ups. You probably don't like burpees as much as you thought you would, right? The academics that you've been through, you're taking a whole associate's degree and packing it into just a few weeks of training. People don't realize, if you've not been through what you've been through, what the academics are like. You know more about law than anyone else, other than someone who's been to law school and taken the bar and passed it and then used it, right? The academics you've been through have been extraordinary, right? They've been very difficult. Now, you're shaking your heads because you know. All the quizzes, all the tests, everything. This is not an easy thing that you've been through, right? The thing about peace officers is the public even looks at it, and they look at it as these are some heroes. These are extraordinary people. And I upset people sometimes when I say this, but that's really not it. The thing about sports, about champions, right? Champions don't really do extraordinary things. They do ordinary things better. Think about the Olympics. There's nothing extraordinary about skiing or about running a bobsled down a tube, right? That's any of you could do that. Champions do ordinary things better than anyone else. Does that make sense? You're not really, and I don't want to burst any bubbles here, but I'm the same. We're not extraordinary people. We're ordinary people. You guys are ordinary people willing to do extraordinary things, willing to go and do things that other people aren't, or perhaps can't because of poor decisions in their life, can't because they tried to get in. They're one of the other 300 plus people that didn't get to sit where you're sitting. Does that make sense? So I always want to say that. I always want to be careful to say, hey, we the police, sometimes we get a little too full of ourselves, right? When in reality, every now and then the police are Johnny on the spot, and we watch a crime happen, and we are the real hero and save the day, when actually most of the time, and everyone that's been in law enforcement, the reality is we're eating a cheeseburger, and a citizen sees some craziness, and we go call the police. And they don't call the police, they call a telecommunicator, actually. They call a dispatcher, who then calls you, and you go put your hamburger down and run in, and you get all the credit and all the hero stuff. All right, I'm not trying to be negative, but that's the reality of it. You're an ordinary person willing to go and do extraordinary things. And for that is why people will look up to you, and they'll respect you, and they will think of you as an ordinary person. Now it's our job to not shatter that belief, right? And that's the one segue that I want to move on and I want to talk about. We live in a time, and there's these times that we go through, and we hear ourselves, we hear other people saying, it's a tough time in law enforcement. It's a tough time to be a cop. It's a hard time right now to be a cop. And I disagree with that. I know what they're talking about. We got a lot of stuff in the media right now where federal partners are being attacked, where law enforcement officers in whatever state are being criticized. And I want to help you through that. I want to help you work through that. I was one, and I think it was in like 2007. I was a lieutenant, and I was like all my friends. I was going, it's a hard time to be in law enforcement. Oh, you know, I don't know. And the best thing I'll tell you is I hear, old heads, and you'll hear that term one of these days. You'll become an old head, in fact, yourself one of these days. Once you get past the 30-year mark, 27-year mark or something like that, so chief, and I've seen a couple people in here, they started in law enforcement a long, long time ago. And real story here, two of my friends, old heads, they're over here talking to a group of people, and they're saying, man, it's so much more fun whenever I started in law enforcement. So much better. So I wouldn't do it again today. There's no way I could be a patrolman today. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even let my kid get into it. 20 minutes later, they're over here talking to a different group. I don't know why no one will sign up. We can't get people to apply for the jobs. They won't test. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's you. Maybe it's our narrative, those of us that have been doing this for a long time, right? We can be discouraging because sometimes we say those things, and the convenience store clerk, who's young man or woman, has been thinking about becoming a police officer, and then they hear these two veterans talking, like, I don't know, maybe it's not that good. It sounds fun, but I don't know, maybe I don't want to do that, right? So in about 2007, I was running my mouth about that. My dad started in law enforcement in 1966 in the Amarillo Police Department. And a lot of you guys are saying, well, that's before my time. Lincoln was before my time, but I've read a book, so stay with me, right? And he heard me talking, like he heard me saying that, and like my dad still does. He's 80 years old, and he still dresses me down at times. And he pulled me aside, and he goes, why are you complaining? You have the greatest job in the world. Why are you complaining? I go, well, I don't know. I mean, you know, there's things, you know, the media and everybody in this. And he said, hey, listen to me. I started in 1966 at the height of the civil rights era. You think it was a good time? And you think it was easy? You think we didn't worry about what people said? And that got me thinking, and I thought, man, because he said they issued us a helmet, and I put it on when I left my house, and I didn't take it off till I was back inside, because you never know when a brick or a bottle was coming your way. I thought, man, you know, and that got me thinking. And so at that time, I was going through college. I was working on a master's degree, and so I started doing a little research. And I want you to imagine this for me real quick. I bet it was a difficult time. If you think in the mid to late 60s, we had civil unrest across the country, racial strife throughout the nation in virtually every city. And so I put a dot. I can draw a dot down here for you. And I want you to think about it a decade later in the 70s and into the 80s when the crack epidemic hit America. Crime was out of control, and people, they love the police. They're supporting law enforcement. They're funding new buildings. They're funding new positions. Everyone loves law enforcement. And you can write a high note up on that chalkboard, right? Dry erase board, but there used to be chalkboards. Anyway. Flash forward to 1991. We have this incident in Los Angeles. So some Los Angeles PD officers get way out of hand and on a traffic stop with a guy named Rodney King. Shortly thereafter, we have riots, we have racial unrest, civil unrest, not just in Los Angeles, it spreads across the country. So you could put a mark down low on the board, right? A decade later, 10 years later, 2001, what happens? Country gets attacked, right? Not only are people, the media, everybody, they love the police. More than 300 peace officers perish in one day. That's bigger than Lubbock Police. That's bigger than the whole police department. The whole department gone, right? We have this outpouring of support for law enforcement. People are signing up. We're getting funding. Everyone loves us. You can put another high point on the board. Move forward about a decade to 2014, Ferguson, Missouri. You see where I'm going with this? So you could draw this chart. You see this? You see that cyclic pattern? Let me tell you, that's human nature. That's how things go. I'm going to offer to you, people always support the police. People always love the police. But the human being is an emotional thing. We're led by emotion. And we get churned up when we watch, back then when we had to watch TV, you had a clicker, right? Now you got the phone and you're watching news 24/7 and you're doom scrolling, right? We're led to, and you guys are led to believe no one likes us, right? And the citizens, people that might have wanted to sign up, might have made it in, could have had 9 in the class, but some kids said, it's a tough time to be in law enforcement, right? But I'm going to tell you, so you go, well, it's a new phenomenon. No, it's not. I want you to think about 100 years ago in the 20s. Isn't that crazy? So the roaring 20s. What are we going to call these 20s? I don't know. They're probably still thinking of the name of this, what these 20s are. But go back 100 years ago, and you've got John Dillinger, Babyface Nelson, all of these people running around robbing banks, and they're folklore heroes, right? Through the media, through storytelling. Those guys are rotten to the core criminals, murdering, bank robbing, kidnapping, horrible people, period, right? And they have fully automatic, everybody goes, well, they got assault weapons, fully automatic Tommy guns. They have a drum magazine that holds 100 rounds. They're unstoppable. And the man sent to chase them down is a guy named Melvin Purvis. He's an FBI agent. Now, when I said John Dillinger, Babyface Nelson, I can say Bonnie and Clyde. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. You heard those names, right? Has anybody ever heard of Melvin Purvis? I think so. You know why? He's not a hero. He's not a hero. No one knows his name. He doesn't go into the annals of time as a hero in history. He was sent to capture him, and the FBI at the time was not allowed to carry a gun at all. They didn't get guns. No guns. And they got to go up and chase this dude they're carrying fully automatic Tommy guns. And then finally, J. Edgar Hoover said, all right, you can go get a revolver. That's it. Okay, and eventually they were able to get rifles and stuff, and they captured who was labeled public enemy number 1. But who do we know? Who do we hear about? And they're glorified in movies today. They're glorified, right? But it's not 100 years old. I'll take you back 150 years old, 150 years ago, to Jesse James, the James Younger gang. And they're the things of folklore hero. They're heroes, right? They are train robbing, murdering crooks, criminals, period, full stop. These are not good people. They were heroes because of the Civil War, and they were just trying to, take up for the South. And no. These are murdering, bank robbing, train robbing, killing townsfolk, innocent civilian people living their lives. The Pinkertons are who goes to capture them. Now, let's see if this resonates today. The Pinkertons go to Jesse James's house because they think he's in there, and they accidentally kill his baby brother. Jesse James's baby brother had committed no crimes, but throw a smoke bomb to try to smoke Jesse James out of the house, and it lands in the fireplace and it blows up. That's bad. That's bad. The police make a mistake. They kill the baby brother. Jesse James and his brother Frank James get away, right? Who's the villain? Does that sound familiar to you? It does, right? I say all of that to tell you, this job cannot be defined. Your satisfaction with this job can't be defined by likes on social media. You just have to do this job the way you've been trained by an academy. And remember, we're not standing up new academies. They've done a great job in Edinburg, Texas, to convince us. I'm a bureaucrat now, right? I'm from Austin, and I'm here to help. Be wary of that too, right? But they convinced us that they have what it takes to train good Texas peace officers, and on the micro level, good Edinburg police officers. You can't find satisfaction in this job on social media. You can't wait. You can't wait to be glorified, vindicated, whatever you want to call it. You have to look past all of that. This cyclic pattern, the path through that, straight like that. Getting better each and every day. Because what does the Edinburg public think? What do they expect? What does the Edinburg citizenry expect from you all? What does the American public expect? I'll tell you. It's straightforward, very simple. when they call 911, and I'm gonna offer this to you, right? I got other agencies in here. If you have a 911 recording of the Smith's house, he called up and said, "Hey, this is the Smiths. It's Friday night, and nothing's wrong here. We're just having pizza and movie night. Just want to let y'all know." You got a recording like that? No. There are no 911 calls like that. Nobody calls us when everything is fine. All right? They call us. They call 911 when things are out of order and they need help putting it back together. Because in Texas, we go, I don't need anybody. I'm good. I got it covered. But yet our 911 calls ring pretty consistently, right? So people get into something goes wrong, and it could be a traffic crash. It could be a horrible violent crime, or somebody just stole their planter off the porch, and it doesn't matter. But what they're looking for, let me tell you what, they're not calling the director of TICO, and they're not calling the chief of police. They're not calling a lieutenant. You know what they want? You know what they need? They're looking for a uniformed patrol officer from their city or from their county, whatever it is. They're looking for a uniformed officer who's well-trained and well-supervised, right, to show up in a marked car in a reasonable amount of time, whether it's a dire emergency or a simple matter. They're looking for a uniformed officer to show up in a marked car in a reasonable amount of time and say, "How can I help you?" You call the police, "What can I do for you?" How do we make that? How do we meet that expectation? Well, it takes a good police academy. It takes budgets. It takes the right training. It takes fuel, right? You got to have the uniforms. It takes all of this, but it takes leadership, not just at the chief level and at the sergeant level. It takes it at the individual level. It takes you, gentlemen, leading yourself, number one, and then leading each other, right? You have to hold yourself accountable, and then you've got to hold him accountable. Does that make sense? Lead yourself, lead each other, and then you begin leading at the unit level and then leading at the organizational level. That's how we accomplish that, right? A couple more things real quick. You guys are going to take an oath of office here in just a second. And I ask you, because you've been through a lot. It's been how long is the academy? How many weeks? How long? 6 months. For 6 months, you've been put through the ringer, right? And you're just ready to get it over with, man. And I can tell you, because I've been in your shoes. You know, I've taken an oath when I joined the military. I took an oath when I went through the police academy. I took an oath when I got a commission in the Navy. I've taken a lot of oaths, right? And you're tempted, oh, God, I'm finally there. And we tend to just kind of gloss over that. And I'm going to give you another quick story. I was in Plainview, Texas, and I'm in a courtroom, and I'm listening to a defense attorney question on cross-examination a young officer. And I'm not saying this negative. Don't begrudge the officer. The defense attorney, he wasn't tricking him. There was neither of them realized what really had gone on. It's just leading questions up to it, right? And he said, "Well, officer, you took an oath to protect the lives of the people of Plainview." "Yes, sir." And he said, "You took an oath to give your life up if you need to." "Yes, sir." It's like 3 or 4 questions like that. And I'm sitting there going, no, that's not it. Neither one of them realized it. So it was sort of a mute thing, but I took notice of it, and I thought, man, I think that's probably the case, because this guy's been a police officer for like 6 years. He was no spring chicken in law enforcement. And so I thought, man, that's interesting. And I did a little quizzing. I like to hear stuff, and I go, I'm going to test this hypothesis of mine. And few people could really, I asked the same question. I go, "You took an oath?" And they go, "Yeah." Okay. Let me tell you something. That is not the oath that you're going to take. You are not going to promise, so help you God, that you will give your life up if need be. That's not the oath. You are not going to promise, you're not going to take an oath to protect the lives of the citizens of Edinburg. No. You'll do that because you've been well trained, and you know that's part of the contract, right? That's just part of it. It's a dangerous job. It's not Disney World. It's not the movies. It's not TV. It's real life. And as the chief told you, you are going to be at the front lines of the human condition. You will see people at their worst, and every now and then there's going to be some gunfire involved. You know, it's rare, but there is. But that's not the oath you take. That's not it at all. you're going to stand up and raise your right hand and swear, so help you God, that you will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States and the laws and of this state. That's the oath. There's nothing in that promise that, oh, man, I'll die if I have to. That's not the oath. How many veterans do I have in the room? Got quite a few, right? That's the same oath. You didn't promise I'll go to war and die if I. That's not the oath, right? It can be rolled into it, and I understand why the officer. I'm not blaming or faulting or criticizing the officer. I'm just saying his answer should have been, "No, sir, that's not the oath I took. No, sir." Right? Be methodical when you take that oath, and please don't gloss over it because you're finally at the end and you're ready to get out there and fight crime. Okay? I want you to think of every word. I want you to say it carefully, and I want you to understand it. Because the Constitution, in fact, usually I bring it, and I forgot, it's a pocket copy. Fits in my pocket. It's got some coffee stains on it. Sometimes I'm a little messy drinker of the coffee, right? I've had that copy. It's on my desk. These folks here with me, they'll tell you it's sitting on my desk, and I've had it for probably since the early teens. I would encourage you, because you got a stack of books like this, don't you, that you've been studying. That little gift shop copy of the Constitution is like an 8-minute read, 10-minute for some of you, right? It's it. That's all the promise you make is to uphold and defend that. Now, the Texas Constitution is a little bit more voluminous, right? Give it a read. That's the rule book. All these other things you've studied, it comes from that little book. I encourage you to read it a couple times a year because that's it. And that's a copy. You guys will probably never get to see the real thing. It's buried in D.C. somewhere. I think there's like a framed copy you can go, gawk at for a couple minutes. Do that if you can. I've never seen a real copy. I've just read copies of it, right? So what are you actually promising? What are you taking an oath to do then? Uphold and defend a way of life. Does that make sense? That's it. Don't gloss over it. Because you got people that are going to hold you accountable to that oath. I ask you hold yourself and each other accountable, and I know this guy, and he is going to hold you accountable to it. And I hold your license. I'm going to hold you accountable to it as well. I can assure you of that, and I know that he will too. And then finally, a couple things right here. I always quote a couple of people. One's a guy named Joseph Wambaugh. He was a Los Angeles police detective, and he wrote several books, some fiction and some not fiction. One was The Onion Field. You learn in the academy to never, ever, ever give up your gun, ever. Doesn't matter if somebody takes your partner hostage. You remember that training? Comes from The Onion Field. That happened. It was 2 L.A. detectives, and one of the detectives, the bad guy, got a hold of him, held him hostage, and forced the other detective, who did give his gun up, and it didn't. I don't want to ruin it if you hadn't read it, but they took him to some onion fields, and it didn't go well. That training comes from that real story. Joseph Wambaugh wrote that story. It's a good book. One of his other books is fiction, but one of the characters in that book, it's an old-time sergeant, and he's called the Oracle. And one of his famous quotes is this right here: "Doing good police work is the most fun you will ever have." How many other officers I've got? Am I wrong? That's a great quote. That's right. Doing, keyword though, good police work, it's the most fun you will ever have. Even on days where it's crazy and you see things that humans shouldn't have to see and deal with. It is still the most fun you will ever have doing good police work. But you got to make sure you're doing good police work. And then finally, I want to leave you with this right here. Probably the favorite chief I ever worked for was a guy named Dale Holton. Because you've heard this before plenty of times in your life, right? Treat people the way that you would want to be treated. Well, see, here's the problem, though. We police, again, I talked about this earlier, we get a little full of ourselves sometimes. And because, and I'm not trying to criticize you, but especially at your age, right? We're like, well, I'm a policeman. I wouldn't be in that situation ever. And then you begin to acknowledge when you become an old head, yeah, but by the grace of God and a couple of decisions, poor decisions, I might not be where I'm at today. Right? And that's a fact. That is 100% true. And so to help you really understand what that means, Dale Holton said it different, Chief Holton. He was the captain at the academy when I went through Lubbock's Academy in '92, and he became the chief later. It's my favorite chief I worked for. He couched it like this: treat people the way you would have your loved one treated. Because we've all got, everyone, I think everyone in their family, there's someone in their family that probably hadn't made the greatest of life choices. I've got a couple of them in my family. And I think I've always tried to take, and I heard Dale Holton, Chief Holton say that, I heard Captain Holton say that to us as I sat in your chair. And that resonated with me. How would I want, and I'll tell you, my brother, I had a brother that got sideways a couple times, and how would I want a police officer to treat my brother? No matter the stuff he did, I love my brother, and that's a big deal to me. So I always tried to treat people the way I would have my brother treated, even if he was wrong. Make sense? Treat people the way you would have a loved one treated. And you can't go wrong like that. You'll treat people right, even if they fight with you, even if they run from you. Treat them the way you would have a loved one treated, whoever that is, brother, sister, mom, dad, whoever. Follow that right there. Finally, I want to say, again, thank you to you guys. I want to thank you 8 people for being willing to step up when it's a tough time in law enforcement and people are talking people out of this job. Thank you for looking past that. And as you grow in this career and become an old head, don't beat it down, because I'm going to tell you right now, and this is a quick message to those of you that maybe think you've been this long time, you're an old head. Right now, driving around in an Edinburg police car, in a Lubbock police car, in a Dallas police car, in a DPS black and white, there's a 23-year-old kid, guy or girl, and today is their good old days. Right now, today. And here in a few little bit, it's going to be their good old days. And we owe it to them to make it special, to make it a big deal. I love talking about, 35, 37 years ago. It's so fun. I loved when I was a young troop and I got in that Lubbock police car. I was on top of the world, right? And in 30 years, think about this, in the 50s, that's different. Because I say the 50s, we think about old cars and stuff. But in the 50s, these kids are going to be sitting around talking about the good old days. Remember back in the good old days, we had to drive like on the streets and the cars had the wheels, we had to drive. We owe it to them to make the good old days special to them right now. And I want to reiterate what the chief said a minute ago. Say thank you to your families. In no small part, I'm where I'm at to come here. I appreciate so much this chance to come and speak to you, but in no small part, my lovely wife, I'm here because of her, right? As I deployed time and again with the Navy, and I was on call and having to leave the house at 11 p.m. for stuff, for call-outs, she made sure that I was able to do that, working on a degree, all those things. And you owe your families a big debt of gratitude, and make sure that you show that every single day, especially because you're going to be different people in 5 years. Good. It's a good thing. It's not bad, but you'll understand what most people do not understand. All right? Godspeed to you, and I'm proud of each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Stevens. Glad you're enjoying our tortillas and hot weather. At this time, we do want to recognize the dedicated training staff, you've heard about them, whose leadership, instruction, and absolute commitment played a big, big role in shaping this first ever graduating class in the city of Edinburg. So if you are here, please stand to be recognized. Lieutenant Robert Vallejo, Sergeant Alex Cruz, Johnny Amaro, Ricardo Treviño, Iris Garza, Fabian Zuniga, and Elisa Figueroa. It is now my pleasure to introduce the recruit class president, Officer Alan Solis, for the official class address.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before I begin the speech, I would like to thank first Jesus Christ for this opportunity today. We are so grateful for his guidance in bringing us to this moment. Especially thank you to everyone who took the time to be here today. To our friends, families, instructors, and department leadership, your support has meant the world to us. This day isn't just about new officers sitting here, it's about all the people who stood behind us throughout the journey and now into his new career. When we started this academy, we were just 8 men from different background experiences and reasons for being here. We all didn't think the same, study the same, or handle stress the same. Each of us came in our own strengths and weaknesses, and the academy exposed both, but it forced us to grow, to adapt, and to rely on each other to overcome the obstacles we had to face. That growth is what's brought us here to this very moment. The past 7 months have been some of the most memorable moments of our lives. Starting from the very first day we met each other, none of us really knew what to expect, just that we were stepping into something bigger than ourselves. Then we came to our first exam, we were nervous, stressed, and convinced we had to know it all. That was the moment it started to feel real. But it wasn't all books and highlighters. There were also fun days at the EVOC, pushing the patrol units to its limits and discovering who could drive and who definitely needed a little more practice. Firearm training turned into a quite competition to see who was the top shot, but that was also seeing who also needed more practice. And then there was the riding the lightning. Nothing brings a class together than voluntarily standing in line to get tasered. Everyone excited and wanting to go through it with it and seeing the true reactions after hearing and seeing the taser go off on someone. It was pretty something special. 5 seconds never felt so long. Safe to say that was one experience we will never forget. And of course, we can't leave out the OC course. Because if the taser didn't humble you, the pepper spray definitely did. Probably the funniest hour of our lives. Well, looking back at it now. Overall, the academy was an experience, and I speak on behalf of my fellow officers that we are glad to go through it together. We experienced it as a group, and I wouldn't change it for anything else. I'm glad to have these men as my brothers, and I'm ready to serve with them in this department. We as a class would like to recognize our entire training staff. You all have high standards and clear expectations, and even the memorable catchphrases that kept us on our toes challenged us to stay sharp and think critically, and always backed up what we said with knowledge. Y'all pushed us beyond what we thought we were capable of, refused to let us settle for good enough because of your guidance, discipline, and investment in us. We stand here today stronger and more prepared and ready to serve. We are deeply grateful for the Edinburg Police Department for giving us the opportunity and investing in us in day one as the first police academy ever hosted by the city of Edinburg. This moment carries a special significance for all of us. We recognize the trust, time, and resources it takes to prepare new officers, and we do not take that lightly. The department has a proud history of service to our community, and we are proud to now step forward as part of that continuing story. We understand the weight of wearing this badge, and we are committed in being a true return of the investment you made in us, serving with professionalism, integrity, humility, and dedication and pride. As the inaugural class, we will carry that honor with pride and set a standard worthy of those who will follow behind us. As we graduate today, we step into our careers. We carry with us the pride in the city. We serve and respect for the department that shaped us. We are committed to apply the lessons we've learned, honoring the trust placed in us, and giving our best to every call, every shift, and every decision. This is more than a graduation. It's the start of a commitment to serve with dedication, honor, and pride. Gracias a Dios por todo. Once again, I thank you all for joining us this special day in Edinburg. Show us 10-8.
Good job, Solis. At this time, we are going to present the top award categories, recognizing even more outstanding achievements by our cadets. Chief and Sergeant Cruz, if you can please join me for this part. And we're going to start with the Top Academic Achievement Award. This award is determined by overall grade point average, attendance, and disciplinary record, and it includes performance scores from skills training areas such as firearms and driving, and the recipient consistently demonstrates conduct that reflects the mission and the values of the first ever Edinburg Police Academy. And the recipient today is Anthony Boiso. You want to grab Director Stevens in there for the photo, Chief? Oh, challenge coin, thank you. Next up, we have the Firearms Excellence Award, and this distinction reflects the cadets' dedication to training, safe weapons operation, and mastery of handgun fundamentals. And the recipient today is Rocky Moreno. Director Stevens, challenge coin. You're going to want to hold on to that one. Good job, Rocky. Next up, we heard about this one, is the Peter de la Garza Leadership Award. This award is named in honor of retired Assistant Police Chief Peter de la Garza, who dedicated more than 4 decades of service to law enforcement and specifically to the city of Edinburg. Chief de la Garza, please come to the front and help us present this one, please. This award honors Peter's legacy by recognizing a graduate who exemplifies leadership, integrity, and a whole lot of dedication to service, and also a commitment to upholding the very highest standards of the law enforcement profession. And today, our recipient is Hector Melendez. Director Stevens, go for it. Oh wait, it's an even bigger award. Sorry about that. One more picture, Chief. Awesome, thank you. Congratulations to everyone who received an award this morning. Great job, officers, and thank you, Sergeant Cruz. At this time, we're getting to even bigger things. Let's proceed with the graduation of the officers. As each name is called, graduates, please come forward as directed. The graduates are Anthony Boiso, Mario Cabrera Gonzalez, Christopher Martinez, Hector Melendez, Rocky Moreno Jr., Hector Montano, Alan Solis, and Vincent Torres. Yes, guys, big round of applause. They did it. Chief, if you can please come forward to administer the official oath of office, and then Assistant Chief Michael Cerda will lead us in the oath of honor.
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me, please. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of police officer of the City of Edinburg, Hidalgo County, Texas, and will do the best of my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. And I furthermore solemnly swear that I have not directly nor indirectly paid, offered or promised to pay, contributed nor offered to contribute any money or valuable thing, or promised any public office or employment as a reward for the consideration to the office of which I was appointed. So help me God. Congratulations.
Okay, go ahead and raise your right hand again. Repeat after me. On my honor, I will never betray my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect and ensure the safety of my community and the preservation of human life. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I will always maintain the highest ethical standards and uphold the values of my community and the agency I serve. Congratulations, officers.
Thank you, Chiefs. And now I can actually say it this way. Officers, you may be seated. Chief, if you can please stay here in front to help us with the badge pinning part. As each graduate is called forward, their biography is going to be read, followed by a family member who will be pinning their badge. And we begin today with Officer Anthony Boiso. Officer Anthony Boiso Jr. is a graduate of Marietta High School in Marietta, Georgia, class of 2018. He proudly served for 8 years in the Army National Guard, achieving the rank of Staff Sergeant, demonstrating leadership, discipline, and dedication to service. Officer Boiso is supported by his mother, Araceli Rodriguez, and his spouse, Maida Boiso. He chose a career in law enforcement, he says, to serve his community and to do something honorable, carrying forward the values that were already instilled through his military service. His badge today will be pinned by his wife, Maida, if she can join us in front. Officer Boiso, quick photo, and then you may be seated after that. Next up, Officer Mario Cabrera Gonzalez. Officer Gonzalez is a graduate of Donna North High School, class of 2016. He earned an associate's degree in criminal justice from STC, reflecting his early commitment to a career in public service. He is supported by his parents, Rosa Gonzalez and Mario Cabrera, and his spouse, Yulisa Valdez. Officer Cabrera Gonzalez chose a career in law enforcement after developing a lifelong desire to follow that path, beginning in childhood. His goal is to make a meaningful difference by always helping others, leaving a lasting impact on his community and making his family proud. Today, his badge will be pinned by Yulisa Valdez, his wife, if she can join us in front. Thank you so much. Next up, Officer Christopher Martinez, a graduate of James Nicky Rowe High School in McAllen, class of 2019. He's supported by his mother, Maggie Martinez, and honors his late father, Leroy Martinez. He's also supported by his spouse, Emily Kate Martinez. Officer Martinez chose a career in law enforcement to make his family proud and to build a name for himself through dedicated service to his community. His badge today will be pinned by Emily Martinez, his wife, if she can please join us in front. Ah, fellow law enforcement officer, beautiful. Thank you so much. Next, we have Officer Hector Melendez. Officer Melendez is a graduate of Thomas Jefferson Early College High School in Pharr, class of 2016. He attended STC, where he earned an associate's, further preparing him for a career in public service. And he is supported by his parents, Sofia Melendez and Hector Melendez, and his spouse, Karina Alvarado. Officer Melendez chose a career in law enforcement because he values being present for others and providing assistance during times of need, reflecting his commitment to serving his community with compassion and professionalism. Today, his badge will be pinned by Hector Javier Melendez, his father. Dad, if you can join us up in front. Thank you. Next, we have Officer Rocky Moreno Jr., graduate of PSJA High School, class of 2021. He proudly served for 3.5 years in the U.S. Army, attaining the rank of sergeant, during which he developed strong leadership skills and a big commitment to service. He is supported by his parents, Lorena Gonzalez and Rocky Moreno. Officer Moreno chose a career in law enforcement to be part of something bigger than himself, carrying forward that dedication to service and teamwork, now in his role with the Edinburg Police Department. His badge today will be pinned by his father, Rocky Moreno. Dad, if you can join us in front. Thank you so much. Next, Officer Hector Montano. A graduate of Valley View High School in Hidalgo, class of 2014, he earned a bachelor's in criminal justice from UTRGV, reflecting his commitment to professional growth and public service. He is supported by his parents, Laura Alicia Montano and Marco Antonio Burgos. Officer Montano chose a career in law enforcement to honor his family name, earn the community's respect, and always to serve those in need. He values community partnerships and is committed to helping to build a stronger, safer future for everyone. Today, his badge will be pinned by Laura, his mother, if she can join us in front. Thank you. And now we have Officer Alan Solis. He served as the class president, demonstrating leadership, responsibility, and dedication throughout the academy. His ability to represent his class while maintaining high standards reflects his commitment to the profession and to Edinburg PD. Officer Alan Solis is a graduate of Palmview High School, class of 2018. He's supported by his parents, Veronica and Javier Solis. Officer Solis chose a career in law enforcement to serve those in need, embrace a profession that's going to challenge him every day, and make his family proud through service to the community. Today, his badge will be pinned by his father, Javier Solis. Thank you. And last but not least, we have Officer Vincent Torres. Graduate of PSJA North High School, class of 2021. After graduation, he attended UTRGV, where he continued his education and preparation for his future career. He is supported by his parents, Maria Velma and Pedro Javier Torres, whose encouragement has guided him along the way. Vincent chose a career in law enforcement out of a genuine desire to just help people and to serve his community, bringing dedication and compassion as he now begins this next chapter in his life. His badge today will be pinned by his mother, Velma, if she can join us in front. Awesome. One more time. Big round of applause. Congratulations, officers. And now I invite Officer Alan Solis, who's also the class president, for one final time. He's going to lead his fellow officers in the law enforcement code of ethics that they had to go through every single day, so they know it by heart. Officer Alan Solis. Tell me that's not impressive. Yes, standing ovation for our 8 new officers. What a big accomplishment on behalf of the Edinburg Police Department. Thank you for joining us to celebrate a big, big achievement for our new officers. To our graduates today, you officially assume the responsibility for service, integrity, and commitment to our community. Congratulations. Welcome to the Edinburg PD family. That concludes our ceremony. Of course, let's grab some official photos with our mayor and council, our PD leadership. After that, we want all our family to come in and take some photos. We'll get all that out of the way and then join us out in the lobby for refreshments. Thank you all so much. Congratulations, guys.